Hello friends. So before we start talking on the project Andromeda and the significance it has to Microsoft as a software company, we need to look back to the recent history of smartphones and how the operating systems have evolved over this period. So Microsoft's operating system dates back to Windows CE in 1996 when it was introduced. These were launched as Pocket PC 2000 in the year 2000, and then it was further renamed to Windows Mobile in 2003. So by 2007, it was a moderately successful operating system on mobile devices in the US, but this initial popularity faded rapidly. So in the following years, you may be knowing 2007 iOS was launched. So by February 2010, there was a huge competition from operating systems like Android and iOS. So finally, Microsoft announced Windows Phone to supersede the Windows Mobile. The last version of Windows Mobile released after the announcement of Windows Phone, that was 6.5.5. After this, Windows stopped any development on the Windows Mobile in order to concentrate on the Windows phones. During these periods between 2003 to 2007, a lot of Windows mobiles were released. Windows Mobile was the real operating system in the smartphone world, but being targeted towards the enterprise and business customers, this operating system never really took off in the mass market. It was kind of a niche market and extremely costly devices. If you may remember that STC was at that time just a OEM, that is a original equipment manufacturer, which was just making phones for different carriers, and they didn't have a distribution channel of their own, neither the brand was well recognized. They were extremely successful with devices in the XDA series of phones under the UK carrier O2, and there was a UAE carrier called iMate. So for these two companies, they used to make popular devices like the O2 XDA Executive, O2 XDA 2, lot of phones. If you have any doubt till now, then let me clarify. The original XDA developers website, that is now the pilgrimage spot for smartphone enthusiasts, solely came into existence by few developers who wanted to tinker with the operating system of the Windows mobiles present in the STC phones, that is the XDA series of phones. So in between this era, I had the privilege to use a lot of Windows mobile phones. If I am a smartphone enthusiast, then it is completely dedicated to the Windows mobile era. In India, Symbian was ruling the roost and every other person had a Nokia Symbian device. But Windows Mobile was way ahead in software and app support. There were a lot of medical apps and games that were available and easily crackable. So the screens were huge by those day standards. The biggest phones that I had were having around 3.5-inch screens, which was huge. And the highest resolution that I had was VGA support, that was 640 by 480. Yeah, you may laugh now, but that was the highest resolution screen that was available then. The O2 XDA Executive was one phone that caught so many by surprise. The name of Windows and look of a mini laptop made everyone wonder that it's a mini laptop. I used to enjoy the jealous and sometimes curious looks of passengers in trains and buses. It was a conversation starter for sure. So almost all the Windows mobile phones were with touchscreens of resistive type and had a Wacom-based stylus or pen support. So what Windows Mobile lacked was the capacitive touch technology and reliability, since the processors were really slow at that times. It was never reliable as a phone, needing a lot of restarts to run properly. That was the reason for XDA developers working hard for a smooth operation. The developers were so talented that the STC SD2 will go down in the history as the phone that was able to run the maximum number of operating systems, almost 7 to 8 operating systems, starting from the native Windows Mobile that it came with, Android, Windows 7, Linux, Ubuntu, you name it, almost all have been successfully booted. I think Nokia N900 was the only phone that comes close, but it is still quite far. So once iOS was released, it was doomsday for Windows Mobile. iOS spread like a wildfire, wiping out many smartphone operating systems on its way. BlackBerry OS, Web OS, Palm OS, Windows Mobile OS, all were wiped off. So Microsoft failed miserably in its next attempt also with Windows Phone, even after the acquisition of Nokia. What Microsoft didn't realize was that the community of XDA developers was huge now. And by this time they were waiting for an open source operating system with lot of freedom to tinker with the software and personalize it, just as we used to do on Windows Mobile era with custom ROMs and themes. This was the reason for wide acceptance of Google's Android operating system, as this was the perfect Windows mobile replacement with a lot of tinkering and parallel operating system development possible. So with this kind of emotional attachment to Windows Mobile aside, let's come to the project Andromeda. This is the name of a secret project under which Microsoft engineers are building the new phone which will have a foldable screen, just like the Galaxy X of Samsung. So let me try and connect the dots regarding the direction towards the final roadmap for Andromeda. So first, Microsoft succeeded in creating a hardware profile in the Surface series of laptops. Simultaneously, it has been trying to integrate Windows 10 into a single operating system that will act similarly in a tablet, in a PC, in a hybrid device, in a detachable, in a convertible, and maybe a phone too, and all with pen support. So to do that, they will need something of an operating system that can effortlessly scale to devices of any size and resolution. And the user interface has been named as C-Cell. Then there will be a continuum project which will automatically work when the device is connected to a monitor to work as an independent PC, which we have already seen in the Windows phones. Now they have been pushing all applications into the Windows Store lately, be it the Universal apps, the Xbox games, or the x86 apps, you name it. Almost all the apps are being conglomerated into the Windows Store, a single app store that will identify the operating system running on any device and show you relevant compatible apps. If Windows Phone died prematurely, then only thing directly responsible were lack of quality apps and games on Windows Phone stores rather than the hardware. So let us assume the Windows Store will be able to sort out the app gap issues soon. Now the last hurdle for Windows running on small devices was its inability to run on ARM chips, because Intel processors have miserably failed in providing excellent battery life and a always connected PC option. So recently Microsoft tied up with Qualcomm to get the Snapdragon 850 and the Snapdragon 8180 to be specifically designed to run Windows on ARM. So Snapdragon 850 has been launched in Computex 2018, and it showed that Windows 10 can actually run on Snapdragon ARM processors. Now recently Snapdragon 8180 has been shown up on Geekbench, which justifies the next generation of processors specifically made to run Windows fluidly. So if you ask me, the device is almost ready to fire up through the gates of Microsoft, with almost all the hurdles slowly and steadily being taken care of. But Microsoft this time will be extra careful in not blowing up the crazy good hardware with half-baked app store or laggy software. So let's hope they come back with a bang and with a proper plan for the Surface phone, or the so-called Project Andromeda. I am pitching for Microsoft, the hardware underdogs. What about you? If you like the video and want more, then hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more such videos. See you soon. Thank you.